So, as a lot of you know, I've been reading The Human Phenomenon by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. And it's not the first time I've read it, but I think what Teilhard is recalling my attention to is the need to study the human being scientifically, which may not sound like a new idea. I mean, we've had anthropology for a couple of centuries now, or at least a century and a half or so. We've got cognitive neuroscience, we've got evolutionary psychology. We've been studying human beings scientifically for a while, you might say. But I would say that we've been studying the human being according to its parts. We've been taking its brain out of the context of its psychosocial life, or we've been taking only its various physical characteristics, its measurable, statistically predictable characteristics into consideration, and ignoring the whole of the phenomenon. Not only the whole of the human phenomenon, but also placing the human phenomenon in its cosmic or its cosmological context. In other words, recognizing that if we are to have scientific understanding of natural processes, we've got to assume there's some sort of order to these processes. And so, in looking at evolution, if we are to say, as some materialistically oriented scientists will say, that evolution is mere chance, that evolution is driven solely by material and efficient causes, and material cause would be the notion that there's just some sort of ultimate stuff or substance that just flows through empty space, banging into itself, and due to some transcendentally imposed law or series of laws bumping into one another, these particles eventually, of necessity, become what we see today. I don't think we can account for our universe that way because of the human phenomenon, because we are conscious, knowing biological entities made of matter, but somehow matter's got to be more than particles. Matter thinks, matter knows, matter feels, matter acts. So there's an element of freedom implicit in the spatio-temporal world, the physical world, from the very beginning. And evolution is influenced by formal and final causes as much as material and efficient causes. There's forms and ideas operating in the world, and ideas are also ideals. They're ends and goals. And I think when we consider the human phenomenon in its cosmological context, we start to understand what the goals of the universe are. Teilhard said that the basic teleology of the universe is towards complexity and consciousness. So matter inevitably moves towards deeper feeling and tighter centration, more complex organization, which at the same time it's a differentiation and a unity at higher and higher scales. So when we're considering the human phenomenon, not only do we have to think about cosmology in this context, but also theology. Because we are persons, we are people, and so the universe has become someone, a lot of someones. The universe has peopled And some cognitive neuroscientists or evolutionary psychologists would say that we have some sort of a hardwired cognitive module that leads us to try to explain the world around us by personalizing it, by anthropomorphizing it, thinking of it as if it were some sort of intelligence. Now, granted, I think that evolutionarily speaking, this would make sense, and that you can see how it would foster community and allow human beings to have a sense of purpose despite the intense amount of suffering that we face. But I think the idea that God can be explained away as the human need to personalize the universe, to project a sense of agency or intelligence onto what is really just a valueless, purposeless machine of some sort. I think we have to reverse it and recognize that, okay, well, we actually do live in a universe that created people. And so it's not just that, okay, now we're here as people thinking the universe is somehow like a person, or was created by something like a person, or is being ongoingly created by something like a person. That universe also made a person, continues to make people. And so this is the anthropic principle, right? We can only live in a universe whose physical constants, whose laws, were finely tuned so as to create us. Now, it seems like a tautology. We only know the universe that we know, that we're capable of knowing because it created us. But it's more than that. It puts certain constraints on our cosmology. It forces us to recognize that really we're always already dealing with anthropocosmology, because we can't separate the structure of human cognition from the structure of space-time itself. Thinking is a certain curvature or centration or inward spiraling, a certain kind of radial energetic pattern in space-time itself. So, looking at science of the human like Teilhard's is forcing us to acknowledge that space and time are within us. That there isn't, strictly speaking, an outside. Everything is one in God, which is to say that the universe indeed is intelligible, or as various hermeticists throughout Western history have been saying, the universe is an intelligible sphere whose circumference is nowhere, and so whose center is everywhere. It's intelligible, so who's the intelligence knowing it? Well, you, or God.